Hello everybody, welcome to London City Pilates beginner Pilates session. So I have three blocks here. I have a large cushion block, which could be a pillow at home. I have a slightly thicker block here that's quite solid, which could be a large book. Or a small block here, which could be a DVD or Blu-ray case should you need it. Yeah? So I'm going to place them down. So we're going to start by just thinking about lifting up through the top of the head, nice and tall. Now if you need to, you can use a large block to sit up nice and tall through the posture. So from here, I'm going to think about my pelvic floor muscle. So I'm going to imagine I need to go to the loo, and I'm going to draw up the pelvic floor. Think of it as a lift, an elevator, drawing up, and then I'm going to lower the elevator or the lift down to the 5th floor. From here, maintain the pelvic floor muscle lift and think about a belt around your waist. So I'm going to draw the belt in quite strongly. So I'm drawing my stomach in and I'm pulling the belt nice and taut, and then I'm going to bring the belt down to about halfway. So right now my pelvic floor muscle is lifted and my belt is drawing in to halfway. So if you have a tap on the stomach, you should feel a nice supportive action. Not too bracing, not too squeezed, just a lift and a drawing in. From here, we maintain this core support and we place the hands onto the rib cage itself. So your breathing, we need to visualize an accordion. So as I breathe in, I feel the ribs expand out to the sides and into the back. In through the nose and then out through slightly pursed lips. Again. Feel the ribs expand out to the sides, and then as you breathe out through pursed lips, the rib cage lowers. Try not to breathe into your chest. Try to breathe actually into the rib cage itself. One more time. In through the nose, and then out through slightly pursed lips. From here, I'm going to place the hands by the sides, and now I'm going to think about my shoulders, or specifically the shoulder blades, lifting up, round, and then gently sliding down. Try not to throw the rib cage forward. It is more about the blades sliding down, and I feel as though I've got a piece of string and my head is being drawn up through the ceiling. So I'm feeling my upper torso is in a nice elongated position, my shoulders are down, my core muscles are active, and I'm breathing laterally in and out of the side of the rib cage. Good. Let's come down onto the mat into what is called the relaxed posture or the relaxed pose. So I'm just going to take now the small block. Once again, this could be a DVD case, and I'm going to place that just behind the head here. So we're going to look at creating the imprinted and neutral spine. So right now, you've got your feet in, feet down, knees up towards the ceiling, and I have my pelvis in a neutral position. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to find this bony bit here called the sacrum, and I'm just going to gently rest that down. So right now I have a small curve underneath my back, which is referred to as the neutral spine or neutral lumbar curve. From here, I'm going to slightly tilt the pelvis and allow the lower spine to sink down into the mat as I draw the belly button down. So right now, I'm letting the lower spine press into the mat, and this movement has come from my abdomen. So I've not squeezed the bottom, and I've tried to not squeeze the hip flexors. From there, I return my back to the neutral position. So I balance back on the bony bit, the sacrum, and I have that slight curve, the neutral curve. Let's try that again. So I imprint the lower spine, it draws down, the belly wall sinks. This is the imprinted spine, and then I return the back to the neutral position. Excellent. From here, I gently feel the rib cage drawing down. So I'm going to let the ribs expand as I breathe in through the nose, and as I breathe out, I'm going to just gently draw the rib cage down. And as I do so, I feel a connection between the rib and the pelvis. So you might feel a little bit of an activation here around the sides of the stomach. That is your external oblique muscles just gently drawing down. Don't force it. If you need to, if you feel as though your ribcage is really sticking forward, you could then increase the amount of lift that you have around the back of the head there. I'm going to revert back to this one. And now I'm going to have a little look at the shoulder blades. So I'm going to float the arms up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to press my fingers up so my shoulder blades feel as though they're sliding around the rib cage. And I'm going to drop the shoulders down so I feel as though the shoulder blades are sinking down into the mat and wrapping around the ribs. They're sliding up and forward and then lowering down, drawing the shoulder blades down. From there, place the hands back by your sides. And now, with the shoulder blades drawing down, I'm now going to lift the shoulders up towards my ears. And as I breathe out, I'm going to slide the shoulder blades down away from the ears. Still with them very much flat, gently down in towards the mat. Again, lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then slide them down and away. So, we are going to focus on pelvic stabilization for a second here. Now I'm on the mat, and this is quite a squashy mat, and it's quite sticky. So I'm just going to slightly lift the leg, lift the foot, should I say. So I'm going to place my hand onto my hip bone here, onto the ASIS, this bony bit of the hip, and then place the other hand onto your stomach, your abdomen, your belly. I engage the core muscles, the pelvic floor muscle lifts, and the belt draws in. And I'm going to slide my leg, the right leg, out and long as I keep the pelvis, the back in the same position, and my abdominal wall just supportive without being too braced or certainly not popping or doming forward. And now breathe out as I slide the left leg out, keeping the back and the pelvis in the same position, and then sliding it back in. Slide the right leg out. Bring it back in. And the other leg out. Breathe in, return. So this keeping the pelvis and the back in the same position is what we mean by core stabilization. This is the core of the body. Think about an apple. The core is all the way around. And as I slide the leg away, I'm not arching the back, so I'm not lifting it away, or I'm not pushing it down, creating the imprint. And I bring it back. One more. Bringing it back. Excellent. So, from here, we're going to challenge it a little bit, but I'm now going to float the right leg up into what's called a tabletop knee position. So this is 90-degree flexion across my hip and across the knee joint. And as I breathe out, I'm going to slide the leg out and long, keeping everything nice and still around my core. I bring the leg back into the tabletop and I gently lower the foot back down. Now this swapping of the legs from side to side is called the transition. So you want to make the transition as small and as non-obvious as possible. I then float the left leg up on a breath in. And then breathe out, reach the leg away, feel as though the toes are being drawn towards the furthest wall. Bring the leg back in, and then breathe out, lower with control. We'll do one more each of them. So I breathe in as the right leg comes into the table. I breathe out as I reach that leg long and away from me while the back stays in the neutral. I bring the leg back to the tabletop and replace the foot back down. One more, breath in. Breathe out, reach the leg long and away from you. Bring it back in. And then lower it down with control. Excellent. Now, I'm going to do that one more. I'm going to take up to the next level. So just one more level up. You don't have to do that. You could stay with the leg slides here, or you could stay with the single leg stretches here. Otherwise, I'm going to engage my core. I'm going to float the legs up to the tabletop. One, and then two. So right now, once again, the back is still in the neutral. This is quite a challenging angle. I'm now going to slide my right leg out and along besides the foot, keeping the back in the neutral, and then gently bring this back in. This is quite a challenging level. And the other side, breathe out as you slide. Make sure your belly does not pop. Make sure the pelvis remains nice and stable. and then I bring that back in under control. 2 more. Breathe out as you reach the leg. Breathe in as it returns. 1 more. Breathe out as you reach the leg away. No popping of the abdominal wall. Bring that back in. Keep your core active. Place one leg down. Place the other leg down. Excellent. From here, I'm just going to have the knees and feet together, and we're going to do a knee roll. So, let's just place a block between the knees here. I actually have the feet together here. I'm going to take the arms a little bit out to the sides. Now, some teachers may have the arms out at 90. I prefer to bring them in a little bit. Whatever works for you. The idea or the goal here is to keep the shoulder blades and keep the upper torso down as the hips and the knees roll from side to side. I'm going to visualize a large clock here in front of you. Your block is now facing up to the 12 o'clock position. I take a breath in to the ribs, I engage my core, and I'm going to take the knees over to the right hand side, allow the soles of the feet to lift away from the floor as you come over to about 10 past 12 on the clock face. I take a breath in, and then as I breathe out, I bring the hips back through the middle. Now you can either be in the neutral curve here, or if you find that's a little bit too uncomfortable for your back, you can do this exercise in the fully imprinted spine. So whichever you choose, either neutral or imprint, you will do it throughout the duration of this exercise. I'm going to do it in neutral. Take a breath in now, and we're going to head over towards the left side. So I let the soles of the feet just lift away from the floor. I now come to about 10 to 12. Take a breath in here, both sides of my shoulder blades are down, and I breathe out and I bring the hips back through the middle. Let's just go 1 more each side. Breath in, engage, support. Take the knees over to the right hand side. Nice breath in. Breathe out, return. Blowing out through pursed lips. 1 more time. Breath in, engage, support. Breathe out, head over. Breathe in here. And breathe out, return. Now, if you feel very comfortable here and you wish to challenge yourself a little further, we'll now add a little bit of a leg extension or a leg stretch. So I'm going to take a breath in. 12 o'clock, the knees are facing over. I'm going to take my knees over to the right hand side as I breathe out. And now, on the breath in, I'm going to extend my top leg, which is my left leg. So there's a little bit of an extension. Now, I've not completely straightened the leg. It still has a slight flex in the knee. I still have my back currently in the neutral. And as I breathe out, I bring the hips back whilst having my leg extended. And then I breathe in to replace the foot down. Good. Breathe in, breathe out. Head over towards the left side. 10 to 12. Now I'm going to extend my top leg, which is the right leg. I take a breath in. I support. We breathe out. And replace the foot down. Once more to each side. Breathe in. Support. Breathe out. Head over. 10 past 12. Right leg extends. Breath in. Breathe out. Return. Take your time. Replace the foot back down. Breath in. Breathe out. Left side. Breathe in. Top leg extends. The right leg. I scoop the belly as you breathe out, bring the hips back, and then return that back in. Very nice. So, placing the hands now in by the side of the body, I'm going to just bring my heels slightly in towards my bottom as we go to hip rolls or spinal rolls. So, I'm going to just press the small block up and away, still within reaching distance, and bring the hands in by the side of the body. So, currently, my back is in the neutral curvature. I take a breath in, I engage, I support. Now I'm going to allow the lower spine to sink and gently press down into the mat, and I start to squeeze my bottom, and I'm pressing the hips up towards the sky as I peel up through the vertebral column, nice and controlled. Here, I'm roughly in, or I'm aiming for a ski slope position. Think about your knees pressing away from you to the furthest wall. While we're up at the top here, I'm just going to feel my rib cage is gently down. So I've not opened or flared the rib cage out. So I'm just gently dropping it down. If you feel as though you have opened and flared the rib cage up, then just bring the hips down a little bit more. You don't have to be very high in the hip. Good. Take a breath in. Feel the ribs expand out to the sides as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, you're going to start to roll down through the spine, slightly tilt the pelvis towards you, and roll through the vertebral column, and finish by returning back to neutral. So if you felt the back of the legs do a bit too much cramping, you need to think about squeezing your bottom a little bit more. So imagine a pound coin and you're just squeezing the pound coin between the bottom cheeks at the top of the movement. Take a breath in, engage, support. Let the lower spine sink as the belly button drops down. I start to squeeze the buttocks up and we press the hips up through the middle, extending through the back of the neck. Take a nice breath in here at the top. And as you breathe out, I'm going to roll down through the spine, bit by bit. And then at the end of the movement, return back to the neutral. If you felt you're okay with this, I'm going to remove the large block. Now, because the large block has been removed, make sure when you roll up to the shoulder bridge, the knees don't swing out to the sides. So you're going to have to just squeeze a little bit in your groin there to make sure that you don't let the knees swing out. Take a breath in, engage, support, let the lower spine sink down, and breathe out, start to peel the hips up. From here, I feel the ski slope, I feel the rib cages down. Keeping some weight into the right toes, I'm just going to peel the right heel up and away, feeling that my hips stay nice and still, and then I replace the heel back down on the breath in. And then the left heel is going to lift, breathe in, replace. If you feel okay with that, I'm going to peel the right heel up. And then if you feel as though you're nice and stable and secure, I'm going to float the whole right leg up to the tabletop knee position, finishing with my knee directly over the hips, and I've got the ski slope position through the torso. As I replace the foot, I don't let the hips drop or tilt or move. Let's float the left heel up, squeeze the right buttock cheek to support, and then float the left leg up to the tabletop knee position. And then watch, as you replace that foot, the rest of the body stays nice and still. Let's just do two more of them. I'm going to float the right heel. I feel stable. I'm going to float the right leg up to the tabletop. Breathe in and replace that back down. And the other side. I replace the foot back down. I take a breath in. Feel the ribs expand, and I'm going to just gently roll, 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 down through the spine. Nice control, vertebra by vertebra, return back to the neutral position. From here, I'm just going to take my hands behind the back of the knees, do a little draw towards you, and then roll to a seated up position, nice and controlled. Good. From here, I'm going to now take some blocks. I'm going to come onto my side. So, lowering yourself, nice and controlled. We're going to go to arm openings. So, I'm going to have my heels in line with the bottom. I'm going to try to attempt to lift the waist on the underneath side. So you're not tilting the pelvis towards you. So think of that top hip moving away from you. The arms will come out in front of you with one hand directly over the top of the other. I take my head is towards the front of the blocks here. I take my arm up towards the ceiling. I look at the ceiling there, and then as I breathe out, I'm going to let the arm go behind me. Try not to let it drop down or lift up. It's just directly out to the side like a crucifix position. At the back there, I take a nice breath in, and as I breathe out, I engage my core and I bring the arm back with control. Again, breath in, lift the arm, look up towards the ceiling, and as you breathe out, let the arm go behind you with the palm facing up towards the sky. Try to keep your hips facing the front. Breath in at the back, breathe out, return that back. 2 more. Float the arm, breathe in, breathe out, palm up, hips together, knees together, breathe in at the back, breathe out, return, and we have 1 more. We're going to float the arm up, take a breath in, and then breathe out. Now here, I'm just going to hold the rotation. I take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just let the weight of the arm and gravity gently increase the twist. 1 more. Take a nice breath in, and as you breathe out, bring the arm back gently with control. Very, very nice. We'll do that on the other side in a second, but first of all, I'm just going to press the blocks up and away, and I'm going to come over onto my abdomen. We're going to go into a spinal extensional movement. So I'm going to turn my feet out a little bit like a ballet dancer, and I'm going to have my first finger and thumb touching into a diamond shape, or a diamond shape. Yeah. Then I place my forehead quite firmly into the diamond shape. My first action is to draw the shoulder blades down. So I'm not, the shoulders are not up by the ears. I'm lifting the abdominal wall, your belly button, up and away from the mat. And I'm going to start to think about lifting my sternum, the chest bone up. Now you'll notice here, I haven't hiked the head up. The back of the neck is still very, very long. If this feels okay, I'm now going to press into the heel of the hand and slide the elbow underneath the shoulder as I lift the abdominal wall up. I like to call this position the Sphinx position for obvious reasons. Now you may feel this already into your back, but if you feel okay, you'd like to come up a little bit further. Once again, I make a very strong action to pull the shoulder blades down. I'm pressing into the heel of the hand, and my eye line just comes forward. So I've not still got a dropped head, I'm not worse, I'm not lifting it up behind me, it's just looking forward. From there, connect the first finger and thumb, and let the elbows, the triceps, the back of the arm, slowly lower your head back down into the diamond press position. Let's do that again. So I'm going to draw the shoulders down, my belly button lifts up, and I'm going to think about keeping a long neck as I just lift the sternum up. Now here, I'm not using my arms. Take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, come up into the Sphinx position. Keep drawing them shoulders down, keep having a nice long neck, and if you feel okay here, press into the heel of the hand, bringing the eye line forward. Watch for shoulders riding up to ears. Connect the first finger and thumb, and then breathe out, lower down. Use the muscles in the back of the arm. Feel them. Placing the head back down. We'll do 1 more of these. The shoulder blades draw down. The abdominal wall lifts up. I lift the sternum, the chest bone up, feeling the muscles around the middle and upper back. Coming to the Sphinx. Here my eye line is just slightly forward, but down. And then if you feel confident, lifting up into the cobra position, pressing with the heel of the hand there, shoulders are down. Breathe in, connect the first finger and thumb, and then breathe out, lowering down, lowering down, lowering down. From here, we're just going to stretch out the back now, so I'm just going to pull myself back into the shell stretch as I drop the torso down. Your aim is to bring the heels towards your bottom, yes, and feel a stretch across the front of your thighs. If this is too uncomfortable, what you can do is just place a cushion there, which gives you slightly more elevation. And I'd like you to see if you can just drop the chest down. From here, I'm going to bring my hands over to the right hand side and slightly overreach with my left arm, which gives me a nice stretch down the left side of the upper body. Hold that there for 2 breaths. Big breath in, big breath out. Big breath in, big breath out. Swap to the other side, reach the arms across. Here I'm slightly overreaching there with my right arm, which I feel a nice stretch down the right hand side of the body. Breath in, breathe out, release. Breath in, breathe out, release. Good. Place the hands down. I'm just going to round the back. And then just come back through the center there. Lovely. Let's come on to the other side for the arm openings. So I'm going to take my blocks here. So one hand on top of the other. The underneath oblique is nice and lifted and elevated, and the arms are out in front of you. Your head is towards the front of the blocks. Breath in, lift the arm up, look up to the sky, and then breathe out, let the arm come behind you. Stay here. Feel the twist in the spine, feel the stretch across the front of the chest. Breath in, and as you breathe out, bring the arm all the way back down, engaging your core. Again, breath in. Float the arm up, the shoulder is drawing down, and we breathe out as the arm goes backwards. Take a nice breath in, and then breathe out, return. Breathe in. Try and draw the shoulder slightly down away from the ear, so don't let it ride up, and then breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, return. One more, breath in, shoulder down, breathe out. Stay here. Take a nice breath in. Breathe out, let the weight of the arm and gravity gently ease you further out. Don't force the arm to the floor. One more. Take a nice breath in, engage, support, and then breathe out. Bring the arm all the way back down, nice and controlled. So we've been focusing very much on core activation and pelvic stabilization. So now we're going to have a little look at the abdominals themselves. So I'm just going to take my small block. Once again, you can go for the larger block if you feel as though you can't get your ribs down. And we'll just go to a basic abdominal curl. So I am here. So the first action that I want you to do is you ever so slightly just do a tiny little head nod. That is your first action. You do a tiny little head nod. 1, 2. And then I'm going to curl up. I'm going to think about the rib cage drawing down, and I'm going to reach the fingers forward, and then I lower down with control. Again, tiny little head nod, and as you breathe out, the rib cage draws down. Try not to tuck the tailbone, try not to tuck the pelvis under. You're reaching up, and the rib cage is drawing down towards the belly button, and my lower spine, I'm not pushing it down, I'm not tilting and forcing the spine down, but it is naturally, as I draw the belly button down, it is naturally going to an imprint. If yours doesn't, don't worry. One more. And I'm reaching the fingers forward. Make sure you're not riding up, they're drawing down, and we lower down. If this feels okay, here, I'm now going to place my hands behind the head, not interlacing, just behind the ears, and I'm bringing the elbows up into the peripheral vision. Try not to let the arms here, because this encourages the ribs to flare forward. So if you bring the arms a little bit up so I can see my elbows, and that encourages me to just gently keep the rib cage down. Take a breath in, slight little head nod, breathe out, curl up through the center, bring the eye line between the knees, and watch for any popping or doming of the belly, and then lower down. Again, tiny little head nod, Breathe out the curl up. Feel the stomach muscles. You might feel a bit shaky. And then lowering down. And one more, tiny little head nod. Breathe out. And then gently lower down. Now, if this feels okay, we're now going to go into an oblique curl, an oblique crunch. So, I take the hands back behind the head, taking a breath in. I'm going to curl up through the center, and at the very end of the movement, I'm going to add a little twist and a rotation towards the furthest corner. So my chest is heading over to the diagonal corner, and I'm keeping my opposite hip down. And then I lower down. So as I curl up, so I'm now going to curl up towards my right hand side, but I'm keeping my left hip down, and I'm making sure I'm not just rolling my upper torso. So here, make sure you get a lift. So you're not just keeping that down, so you're not just rolling from side to side. There is an actual lift, and then a twist as both sides of the pelvis stays down, and I control the lowering phase. And then one more, we're going to lift, I twist, I rotate, we breathe out, and then breathe in as you lower back down with control. Very, very nice indeed. And just roll over onto your side and press yourself up using the arms. From here, we're going to go into a spinal twisting movement. So I'm going to cross the legs, and once again, I want you to feel as though you're nice and tall and lifted up through the torso. I'm going to place my hands onto the rib cage as we did at the beginning. I feel the ribs expand. I feel my core become active. And as you breathe out, we're going to twist and turn the rib cage round towards the right hand side. Keep the lift through the torso, and then bring this back. On the other side, breathe out. Now here I am just keeping my chin in line with the chest bone there, but don't worry if you do a little head turn, that's fine. Two more. Nice breath out. Try not to drop down. You're lifted up through the spine. Breathe in, return. And one more. Bring this all back round to the center. If you feel confident here, I'm now going to take the arms out to the side. I'm going to draw the shoulders down. Now the temptation here is, as I twist, is to just turn my arms around. So what I want you to do is to think about the shoulder blades sliding and staying down the back of the ribs. As I breathe out, turn to the right, and try not to pull your left arm forward. Coming back, and the opposite side. Coming back through the center. If you wish to, we can now add two tiny little pulses at the end of the twist. So I breathe out, and I add two little pulses here on a breath out. Coming back. Try to keep the whole of your lower torso nice and stable. Breathe out. Coming back. Excellent. Two more here. Lifting up tall. Breathe out. Twist, turn. Small pulse. Come back through the middle on a breath in. And breathe out. Twist. And coming back through the middle, and then gently lowering the arms down, and then just roll the head, roll the shoulders around a little bit. Good. We'll go to a half rolling back now. So coming back to the abdominals. So, coming very much into the middle of the mat. I have my legs out, and I'm going to try and sit up nice and tall through the lower back. I take the arms out in front of me as the shoulder blades gently draw down. Take a breath in, feel the spine lifting up, and from here I'm going to undertuck my tailbone, lower the chest slightly, and come into a C-shaped curvature. So the trick here is to not hinge from the waist. You're drawing the stomach wall back, and also my eye line is just going slightly forward. Try not to drop the head, neck, and shoulders too much. From here, I'm going to float the hands up a little bit, just to the diagonal corner of the opposing wall. That's my breath in, and as you breathe out, I'm going to reach forward, and if you can, I'm going to reach the fingers way beyond the toes, stretching through the side of the body, and then now you should be on top of your sit bones, and I'm going to start to peel, roll up, rolling up through the spine, until the head, neck, and shoulders are the final thing, and I float the arms back up. And again, breath in to start, engage your core, tuck the tailbone under, round the spine, keep your eye line facing forward, try not to feel as though you're gripping too much through the thighs. If you are, then come up a little bit and take some of the pressure away. Breath in, float the hands up just to the diagonal corner. That's my breath in. Breathing out, folding forward. Try and rest your chest down towards the thighs and reach your fingers beyond the toes. You're on top of the sit bones, and then I roll up through the spine, and then float the arms up nice and controlled. We'll just do one more of these. Breath in, sit up tall. Breathe out, round through the spine, C-shaped curvature. Float the hands up, scoop the abdomen, and then fold forward over the legs. And then peel up through the spine, through the spine, through the spine, bringing the arms back out in front of you. From here, we'll go into an oblique twist. So as you breathe out, I'm going to let this arm come around. I pull the arm back, and I'm coming back up through the top of the spine. And the back wall. Breathing out. Come back. So think of your arm sliding along a table. Reaches behind you and turning the chest, and we breathe in and we sit up tall in between. Two more. One more. Coming back, nice and controlled out of that. And then once again, just allow yourself to come slightly forward. Very, very nice. We are nearly there. So we're going to go into a cat stretch. So we kind of looked at this cat stretch movement just a minute ago, but now I'm going to do it as an exercise. So from here, I have my hands directly underneath my shoulders. I've got my little fingers just onto the outside of the mat. The knees are underneath the hips, and I'm aiming to hit a nice tabletop back position here. I keep the back of the head and neck nice and long. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, think about tucking your tailbone under, lifting your rib cage, and letting the crown of the head hang down towards the ground. From there, breath in, adjust the pelvis back to the neutral, lower the rib cage slightly, and bring your head, neck, and shoulders back into beautiful alignment. So here I'm really drawing my shoulders down, and I'm ever so slightly just rotating my biceps outwards. And again, round, tuck the tailbone under, lift the rib cage, let the head tuck under, and then returning back to a neutral position. Good. From here, we're going to try a little bit of a challenge of a balance. So I'm just going to reach my right fingers forward and slide my left toes backwards. So they are very much on the floor right now. I engage my core, I do a little scooping of the abdomen, and I'm just going to hover the arm and leg about 5-10 centimeters. Notice I'm not up here. I'm very, very low, and I'm challenging the balance. I'm also not letting my shoulders ride up towards the ears, and I'm trying to not let the hip drop onto one side. So the pelvis stays nice and even, the shoulder blades are nice and even, and my hands and fingers are just a little tiny bit away from the floor. Bring them back down, and then slide that back in. Very good. Let's do that on the other side. So I engage my core, trying to do a big shift of weight, slide the opposite fingers and toes along. Think about your hips staying nice and on the... Imagine a tray of drinks here on your bottom and between the shoulder blades. And then you're going to lift and float the arms up just a little bit, 5 to 10 centimeters, not very high. Feel the balance, feel the core, feel the stability. And then place the fingers and toes down and slide that back in under control. Once more, you can just pull back into the shell stretch there for a second. And release out of that. So, let's go for a little bit of a hamstring stretch. So nice and tall and lifted here as much as you can. So get yourself into a nice big lifted position. And I'm just going to extend my right leg out in front of you, and you're lifting up tall through the spine. Take a breath in. I'm going to hinge from my waist. So you can see I'm not drawing the head down towards the knee or anything. And you can just have your hands on the floor if you can reach. And just feel the stretch down the back of the leg here. Take 2 breaths. And then if you feel confident here, I'm just going to just gently walk the hands slightly forward, or you can hold onto the leg, whatever feels more comfortable. And I'm going to bring my body down a little bit more. Once again, I'm not drawing the head down towards the knees. I'm just trying to bring the torso forward. The more lift you can have in the back, the more lifts and blocks and supports, the better. Good, and then just gently walk your hands back, either along the leg or along the floor. Let's just try that on the other side. Let the other knee open out. Try and keep this leg very much out in front of you, nice and long. Lift up through the back, and then just hinge forward. Just feel the stretch down the back of the leg, so try to straighten that knee to the best of your ability. Let's go one more breath here. Good, excellent. Bring yourself a little bit lower by walking either the hands along the leg or along the floor, whatever feels more comfortable, whatever you can feel. You can straighten the leg a little bit. One more breath. And walk your hands back under control. Excellent. So, either cross the leg, whatever feels comfortable here. We're just going to do a neck stretch just to finish with. So, I'm going to take my right hand over. I'm going to draw my head down to the right shoulder, feeling a stretch. Take the left arm out to the side, and then pull the heel of the hand down towards the mat. So it's like I'm pulling down, and I'm drawing this head over, and I'm feeling a nice stretch here through the side of the neck. Take a few breaths. And then from there, I'm just going to gently maneuver my hand into the back of the head there, and I'm just going to look down into my armpit here. And now I feel a stretch much more slightly towards the back of the neck. Hold this here for a few breaths. Now keep your head where it is, but just release the hands. And we're just going to just gently roll the head from side to side. So not all the way around, just from side to side. Let it feel heavy and hanging. Let it come down through the center, so I'm looking down. And I'm just going to lift the head back up with control. Let's do that on the other side. So, take your left arm. Draw the head over towards the shoulder. Take the other arm out to the side. Pull the heel of the hand down. So I'm making a conscious effort to pull the shoulder down. And I'm just going to hold, and I can feel this quite strongly through the side of the neck. Breathe. And then from there, I'm just going to maneuver my hand onto the back of the head there. And I'm going to continue to just draw the head down as I look down in towards my armpit there. Feel a stretch. And then once again, just release and just roll the head from side to side, letting the head hang nice and heavy. Let the head and eye line lower down, and then lift the head up under control. Thank you very much for today's session, and I hope to see you all very, very soon.